We have breaking news. Let's get right to it.
Past 24 hours, we've seen 34 new cases of COVID-19 here in Utah.
Following breaking news out of Utah, a magnitude 5.7 earthquake hitting just after 7 a.m. local time, about 10 miles west of Salt Lake City.
We need 100 to 150,000 tests a day.
Isolation20 Podcast number 88. I am your host, Dre, the number one Chief Rocker. Hopefully you're having a stupendous day. Hopefully your day is nothing but good love, good energy. And if there's any BS coming your way, hopefully you're dodging it. Like the president did that shoe. Remember that? Back in the day? Man, it's hard to think that like back in the day isn't so, like back in the day is my childhood now. Like I'm feeling old. Like I feel what my what my dad would say. You know what I mean? Oh man, I remember back in my day. Now I'm the back in my day guy. Yeah, that's me. Man, 88 episodes of Isolation20 Podcast, an episode or a podcast dedicated for you and I, me and you. We just chat, you know what I mean? Get some current events. I've been watching some pretty cool little TV series, some movies as well. So we'll be talking about that. We got some questions in from you, the listeners. I posed the question on my social media, asked me some questions, and y'all showed up, and I really appreciate it. Because of you, this podcast keeps going. Shout out to my YouTube family, the YouTube gang. I really appreciate you for subscribing, liking, commenting, sharing. 100 or 500, over 500,000 views on the YouTubes. That's shorts and that's regular episodes, and I really appreciate you. Thank you for checking out the latest episode of Unrestricted as well, which if you're not familiar with that, it's a podcast dedicated to me and guests. Get to know some people from my community a little bit, and having my friends on, and we laugh and we joke and we play, and that's a very fun podcast. I had my stepsister Andrea on the latest episode of that, and man, it did not disappoint. That one, a lot of people hit me up and they were like, wow, Dre, like that was a fun episode. You guys went on a roller coaster ride. And that's exactly my thoughts as well. I wasn't even going to do the podcast with my sister, partially because when you know somebody so well and you are very tight in the sense of family, I don't want certain family members to feel a certain way. And not yet, at least. Not yet. Especially not on the first episode with her. So my plan is next time she's in town or when I'm in Arizona, we'll have a part 2. And that one will get super deep. Get your tissues ready, because my sister's story is very, very sad. And I don't even know her whole story. You got to remember, I came into her life when I was, I was maybe 10, maybe 9, 10, something like that. I was before 10 years old for sure. But that was, her story is so, there's a lot of trauma in her story, and it's her story to tell. So I don't want to come on here and talk and be like, oh man, we could have talked about this, we could have talked about that. Rather, the next one we'll definitely get the Kleenexes ready, and we'll dive into her life a little bit more. But man, there was some good laughs in that one, and I appreciate you guys for just checking it out. Same thing with the Rock the Mic segment. I host a radio show here in Salt Lake City on 92.5 FM, and I do a segment called Rock the Mic. For a long time, I've been ingrained in this entertainment scene out here in Utah, and in the hip hop scene, in the music scene, from DJing to hosting events to getting in the booth and making songs, and created relationships with artists back in 2005. And I've been doing the same thing ever since. So man, 2005 to 2024, it's a long time of doing it. And I've met a lot of cool people. So one thing that has always been a conversation here in my community is, why haven't we got somebody on? Why haven't we had that NBA young boy, that Jay-Z, that Eminem, that Tech Nine, that Snow the Product, that Eve, that artist that just goes hard for their city, that artist that just makes it to that level. And that question has always been asked. And an answer to that has always been is, well, we don't have the unity, right? We don't have people that support. We don't have the money. We don't have marketing. We don't have, record labels aren't paying attention. We don't have the artists around us, the features, all these different things. So what I do is from 05 to now, what I look for is how can I impact my city? How can I impact? I'm not an artist. I'm not a musical artist. I've made songs before. I've gotten over 100,000 views on some of them. Shout out to my Dame Panocha fans. It was a moment. That was a good 3 months where I was in high demand because I came with some fire. But during those times, I always look at my impact. How can I impact? What can I do? Put your money where your mouth is, right? And that's the same thing for me. That's what I try to do. What can I do? What can I impact? And for me, it's been the podcast route. It's been the entertainment, the hosting route. It's been getting people playing John Stockton, playing the glove, dish and assist. And so when I got the opportunity to go to 92.5 FM, it was my goal to use that reach as much as possible. It's the biggest media platform for hip hop in my state. So I try to figure out a way to help out my community. So I created a segment called Rock the Mic. And on the latest episode of Rock the Mic, where I bring on local artists, interview them, and then we play their music, I had an artist by the name of Anyone. Come on, and Anyone's a veteran in Utah. He's one of those guys that has lyrics. He has, he has the voice. He's a very talented MC, but he also isn't around for life reasons, for whatever reasons. Go check out the interview. He he explains his situation on why he hasn't been around and why he, isn't here, right? So hopefully you go check that out, and hopefully you get a better understanding on Anyone and who he is as an artist. I did invite him to come on Unrestricted, so we'll probably do on a podcast here soon. And maybe I'll bring one of my friends. Maybe I'll bring another homie up, and maybe we'll sit down, we'll talk, we'll have some laughs, some beverages. But thank you again for checking out the Rock the Mic segment. And a lot of people ask me, when I say a lot, I probably get about 30 messages probably every 2 weeks. So probably about 60 to 100 messages a month from people asking me, yo, how can I get on the podcast, or how can I get on the radio show? And my simple answer is, for the radio show, there's a submission thing on their website, 925thebeat.com. For the podcast, or even the radio show, I say pull up on me. Pull up on me. My man Bangarang told me something that hit home, and he was like, Dre, you're more likely to do business and to do a project and work together with somebody that you physically meet, and you make a decision right there on the spot. And as I took that in, and as I reflect on it, yeah, a lot of the times I'm getting, like Anyone, for instance, he sent me his newest song, and I'm like, yo, this is dope. Come on. Boom. And then we did it like the next day. You know what I mean? But I also have rapport with him. You know what I mean? I have rapport with him. So if we can get rapport, and this goes for this, I think this message can go across the board. If you can create rapport with somebody, more likely, if you want to do a project or you want to make something happen, it will, once you have that rapport with them. So don't hesitate. If there's a DJ that you really want to get your music to, don't DM them. Go to the club. Pull up early. Go to the club. Get them a drink, her a drink. If they don't drink, you know what I mean, offer them something. Bring some type of value. You know what I mean? And then that's when you introduce yourself. You let them know who you are, and then you slip the, you know what I mean, airdrop the joint. Or if they still have CDs, give them a CD. But when you just DM A lot of DJs, a lot of creatives in general, a lot of these podcasters, they get flooded in their DMs, and you know the DMs they go in like 2 different folders. I just realized that there's another folder that I just realized that there's a separate folder for people that don't follow me or that I don't follow. But yeah, long-winded answer for like the way that you should be approaching people on creating. But yeah, go check those out. Those are great episodes. It has been freezing in Utah. We just recently mild up a little bit where highs are in the 40s, but for a while there we were in the teens. I wake up every morning. I wake up, rub the crust out my eye, and I go downstairs and I warm up my girl's car because she drops off our kids and, you know, she goes to work and whatnot. So I warm up her car every morning. And so I'm waking up hella early, going down to her car, warming it up. And I tell you what, man, I turn into an icicle waiting for that car to warm up. 15 degrees, wind chill, probably in minus something, cold. And it got so cold that they implemented a new bill here in Utah, which I think is dope. It's called Code Blue, which the alerts are issued for a Code Blue by each county. So separate counties, because obviously it might be warmer in a different county. But when temperatures in specific areas are expected to drop to 15 degrees and below, including the wind chill, for 2 hours or more, so like a longer period of time, counties now have the opportunity to open up government buildings. Shelters are able to expand occupancy, which I think is dope. But I started to think, like, if somebody's homeless, how do they know this? I didn't know this. I didn't know this bill was passed in 2023. You know what I mean? So how would you know if you're homeless? How would you know that, hey, yo, there's a Code Blue? And if you hear Code Blue, first of all, how are you going to hear it? Do you have a phone? Is there like a billboard, or is there like something that says, yo, Code Blue? Is there a sign that goes up, Batman sign, yo, Code Blue? It's just a Crip in the sky, just throwing up Crip, yo, Code Blue. Somebody's gonna screenshot that. But yeah, I started thinking, like, how would somebody in that situation that really could benefit from this, how would they even know, you know, what it is? But anyway, I thought that was dope that they passed this bill, that we've had 2-3 Code Blues in the city in Salt Lake County, that I think could help people stay alive, because people out here freezing to death. It's crazy. Utah is so nuts. We're a desert, right? It will be so hot that people will die from hydration or dehydration, right? And then people will die from being frozen to death. And to me, it sounds like a kind of an easy fix. Like, just warm up some sections. You know what I mean? Like, help people out. And hopefully this Code Blue helps out people in need. It's definitely needed. I can't wait until we don't have to have like a Code Blue. I can't wait until people that want shelter and people that want to get off the street and stuff, they have that opportunity. You know what I mean? In like a real way. The shelter, that whole conversation's crazy, man, because my sister, God rest her soul, rest in peace, Dina, she lived in the shelter, and she didn't want to be there, but she had to go there for a minute, right? She had to go up there for a minute until she can get her own spot. Thank God she was able to get her own spot pretty damn quickly. But she would tell me horror stories, you know what I mean, about people trying her, you know what I mean, and people trying to rob, steal. People get killed in the shelter, you know. Your whole life can be in a backpack and gone just because you're tired, you know what I mean. Drugs going in and out, like horrible things at shelters. And I know they probably mean well, like the shelter means well, but hopefully we get to a spot where the Code Blue isn't needed and people are sheltered, and we don't have no more senseless deaths with the weather. Yeah, I think that'd be dope. Yeah. Speaking of my sister Dina, I have been missing her. Death is so weird, because I know that we all have an expiration date, and we don't know when it is, right? That's kind of the thing about this thing called life. I don't know if you believe in God or, you know, whatever's next after this thing, but that thing already knows like your ending. They already know what's the path, what's going on. In my belief, I believe that it's already written. Why? Because your end date's already there. You know what I mean? We're filling in this pathway. And I feel like there's a lot of different intricate paths that you could take. And that's kind of what makes up the hard things in life. And that's what makes up the joy in life too. That's that intuition thing in your stomach, right? The intuition thing that says that, oh man, I probably shouldn't do that. Or man, I'm excited about this. I feel like this is the way to go. You know what I mean? So, just over the last few weeks, like couple weeks, I've been really missing my sister. Me and my sister Dina, that's no longer here, and my biological sister. We have the same mom, different dads, but we grew really, really close the last few years of her life. And you know, my sister, she dealt with addiction. She dealt with trauma from our mom and trauma from just being a young girl in a situation that was her path. You know, that was what was written. That was written for her story. I mean, I don't know if reincarnation happens, but when she was here, she was meant to live this path, whatever, you know, this hard life that she had to live. And I wish she was here so I can do the podcast with her and hear her story and hear things that I didn't know about. You know, I didn't live with my sister for a very long. I lived with my sister for 5 years out of my life. 5 years. But those 5 years, she made an impact on me in a major way. And I don't know. I don't know if you've lost somebody that you'll just randomly start thinking about, and you maybe get emotional, or you maybe wish certain things. And that's kind of what I'm going through right now. That's kind of what I'm feeling is, you know, I miss my sister and I wish I can hold her, you know, but hell, you can't always get what you want in life. But I don't know, maybe one day, and when I meet the end of my life, when I meet the end of this storybook of Drerawka, when I meet the end of the storybook of Andre, when it's, you know, Andre 89 dash blank, whenever that blank gets filled in, maybe she's there. Maybe she greets me. She's like, yo, bro, what you doing, Carl? Why you crying on your podcast like a little bitch? You know, I've been waiting for you. Maybe she will, man. She used to tease me like that all the time. My sister was a beautiful human, Mobilina. I actually was just, I was just telling my friends Fonzie and Guillermo. Yeah, I used your government. Guillermo. G Poppy Funk. I was just telling them about my sister, and telling them about her nickname Mobilina, how she got that name. She's not proud of it, right? My sister used to be in and out of the system, I'll say, and she used to whip those things, man. She used to whip those things and do hop outs and, you know, all the things that she's not proud of. But when she tells me these stories, I just laugh, and because she tells it in an animated, funny way. But then at the end, she'll be like, "But don't you ever do anything, like, you know, don't you ever go to prison? You know, prison's not fun." You know, and then she'll tell me some funny prison stories, and I'll be like, "Man, it don't sound too bad. It sounds kind of fun. It sound kind of, you know, sound like I gotta experience it. I gotta get these stories." My brother used to tell me the same. You know, God rest my brother Darnell. They have the same dad and the same mom, but we just share the same mom. And my brother Darnell used to tell me the same thing. My brother Darnell was a big dude, buff, like 6'2", 6'3", and he also dealt with addiction, but he was in and out of prison too. But he would tell me the same thing. You know, you're the golden child. Stay out of prison. Don't go to jail. You know, don't do these things. But then tell me funny stories from prison that make me want to go to prison. I thought about that. I was telling my girl, I wonder if I could survive prison. I don't want to go to prison. I don't want to go. I never want to go. If I have to go, hopefully it's for something like defending my family or, protecting somebody or whatever. You know what I mean? But I was telling my girl, I was like, I wonder if I could survive prison. I wonder like how I would politic. Would I be protected? Would they be like, I don't know how Utah prison is, but every time I hear like watch prison movies or whatever, you go with your race. Are the blacks gonna accept me? Or do I gotta go with the Mexicans? Are the Mexicans gonna be like, nah, you too black. You too poly. Go with the polys. And the polys are like, oh, we don't have a group. Polys are like, we kind of hang out with the blacks. Did they just shuffle me around prison? I don't know. The whites ain't gonna take me, that's for sure. Or maybe they would. Maybe you think the whites would take me in prison? Would they? Come over here, man. The blacks don't want you. The polys are with the blacks. They don't want you. The Mexicans, you're not Mexican enough. You don't know Spanish. Come on over here, Dre. But we got to go by your middle name. We're going to call you Steven. Damn. Yo, going to prison, not being white, but having to go run with the whites is crazy. Yeah, man, I miss my sister. If you miss somebody, man, let me know. How do you cope? How do you get over those funky days where you're just like, oh, man, I just want to just like cry and just not leave the room and be depressed and just watch prison shows and eat popcorn and Haagen-Dazs. How do you get over those days? Let me know. 385-240-4666. Speaking of the phone number, okay, switching gears a little bit. On the pod, no matter if it's unrestricted, it's Isolation20, no matter what, I want you to leave me your voice notes. Again, the number 385-240-4666 is the number. It doesn't have to be anything for the podcast. It doesn't have to be a question of the day. It doesn't have to be for What's That Noise, which we're going to be bringing back. What's That Noise? I got a couple of noises I think are pretty good. We're not playing no game or anything. If you just want to leave a voice note saying, hey, Dre, man, I had a crazy thought. Boom, leave me a voice note. We'll play it here. If you want to shout somebody out, maybe you have a mother, a father, a cousin, a sister, a best friend, and you just want to be like, yo, shout out to so-and-so. You know what I mean? Boom. I'll put it in here. It has nothing to do with the podcast. Just a shout out for your friends and your family. I think that'd be cool. That was one thing growing up is that when you heard your shout out on the radio, it was like, whoa, that was cool. And it's still that way too. If you're driving and somebody calls in, I'll do a shout out, whatever. It's pretty cool. So I want to bring that flavor to the podcast. I want you to drop those voice notes anytime. That's the cool thing about these voice notes is that you can do it anytime, any day, anywhere. If you have a thought, just program the phone number in your phone, 385-240-4666. Program it in your phone. You can type in whatever name you want to leave it under and just call it. When you have a thought, call it. Boom. That's it. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. It's a good way to promote something too. Don't make them too long. If they're too long, I ain't playing it. But if you give me a solid 15, 20 seconds, I'm playing it. All right, keep it respectful. Maybe you're a high school football team or football coach, and you want to be like, yo, the Warriors are playing this Saturday in whatever city. Boom, we're going to play it. But you got to bring the fire. You got to be hype. Because this is going to be filler time. So this has to be nice. If it's not nice, I ain't playing it. If you're kind of like, is this thing on? I forgot what I was going to say. No, I'm not playing it. Sorry. No. But if you have a voice note, be a part of the conversation. Leave your voice notes, 385-240-4666. Let's jump into questions.
Are you sick of podcasts that just interview people with the same questions and gossiping nonsense?
Are you tired of hearing about what's wrong with the world? Can you locate your nearest orphanage?
Who cooked the Last Supper?
R.I.P. Mr. Potato Head.
Seppuku Harakiri.
Where is Mavis Beacon?
This is Hoss.
And this is host Beefy,
Listen to the Beans and Rice Podcast.
exclusively in Braille and all streaming platforms.
Patent pending.
Now, Questions is powered by the good folks over at a bar named Sue, 8136 South State Street. Shout out to all my friends and family that came through over the weekend. We played dominoes, slapped bones. If you ever see me put slapping bones on a flyer or anything like that, means I'm bringing the dominoes. We're going to be playing dominoes until I have to get up and DJ. And that's exactly what we did this weekend. My good friend Angel, he came up. He brought his friends, Mariah, her husband, Justin. Host came by. Who else came by? Anna, our homegirl Anna, her husband came by, and we played the dominoes. We slapped bones. Boom, boom, boom. I had to teach these folks a little something. Angel was like, I know how to play. I was like, all right, cool. He's like, what's that paper for? I was like, taking score. He's like, you take score? Yes, stupid. I don't know how you guys play in Jalisco, but over here, we take score. We need to find out who wins. He was like, I just thought if you lose them all, no, this ain't Uno, fam. No, this is dominoes, man. Fives up. What you doing? So if you ever see dominoes, bones on a flyer, if you see a post, it means I'm bringing the bones. We're slapping bones. We're playing dominoes. If you don't know how to play dominoes, don't worry. We'll teach you. It's fun. It's a fun game. All right, 8136 South State Street. Shout out to a bar named Sue. If there's a UFC pay-per-view, it's on at a bar named Sue. Come have a good time. abarnamedSue.com for more information. Okay, first question comes in from JC in Portland. Can you love unconditionally? Whoa, coming in hot. Can you love unconditionally? This is a loaded question. I wish this was an unrestricted podcast question. Matter of fact, I'll bring this up on some later unrestricted episodes, because this is a phenomenal question. Because in all reality, I don't think so. We would want to love unconditionally, right? That unconditional love, meaning there's nothing that you can do to me, to this relationship, that will end it. But if you ask my girl, if Dre cheats, if Dre, fucks around, are you leaving him? She'll say yeah, and I'll say the same thing. I think if you're not faithful in that relationship, we don't have to be together, right? Same thing with a friendship. There's friends of mine that if they do certain things, I'm sorry, I gotta bounce the other way. You know what I mean? What are those things? I don't know, but I do think that there is a condition in this love thing. I would love to say, nah, man, I got unconditional love for everybody, all my friends and family. But if a family member or a friend ever touch my kids, sorry, we're not friends no more. And you got to die. You got to die. You know what I mean? As simple as that. So I would love in fairy tale land, I would love to say, of course, I got unconditional love for you. But I don't feel like that's reality. I feel like in reality, there isn't condition to our love. If you do this, I don't love you no more. Let me know your thoughts. 385-240-4666. Drop a comment. Drop a voice note. I would love to know your input on that. Great question, JC. I wonder if that's JC from Franklin High. Mason in West Valley City. Who do you start with? Charmander, Bulbasaur, or Squirtle? Another great question, because I am a Pokemon lover. When I growing up, I always started with Bulbasaur. That was my go-to. My favorite color was green. But I also liked Squirtle too, man. And then Charmander was just the man. He had an attitude. You know what I mean? But definitely Bulbasaur. I always started with him. Man, one of my favorite Pokemon games was Pokemon Snap. That game, I could never beat it, but man, that game was fun. I never could afford the little camera, so I had to use the controller, but man, that game was fun. And then the Game Boy, you had the yellow version, and then you had the blue version. Man, I think I might just kind of go get one of those handheld Nintendo Switches just so I could play that. I think it's a Nintendo game. It has to be, right? Yeah. Pokemon, man. I wish I would have kept my collection. I my good friend Will Wonder from the Will Wonder podcast, he had a birthday in December 30th, and I went to Target and because he collects trading cards, basketball, and so I went and got him some trading cards, and I started to think, man, like I had a shit ton of trading cards, basketball. I had Pokemon, and my Pokemon collection was lit. Why? Because I had a homegirl, Karen Fan, and Karen Fan, Karen Fan, that was her name. Karen Fan, 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, we were in the same class. We were in band together with Mr. Anderson at DA Grout in Portland, Oregon. And Karen Fan, she was a Chinese girl, and she would always go to China during like summer break, and like she'll go for like Christmas and stuff. And anytime she came back home to the States, she would come with like the newest Pokemon stuff, the newest stuff that you wouldn't get nowhere else. Like this was before 9/11. This is like 95, 96, something like that. And she would have the Pokemon limited editions. She would have the Pokemon with the Chinese writings on it. It was just symbolized, so it was so different than anything here in the States. And so when she would bring it here, I would always ask her, like, yo, I wouldn't ever ask her for the new stuff, but yo, can I get your old cards? And she would be so down. She'd be like, here, Dre, here, boom. Give me her whole binder. Because we used to have these binders with the little slits in them, right? You put the little cards in it so they don't get messed up. She wouldn't just give me a card. She would give me the whole binder. Man, Karen Fan, salute to her. I hope she's still alive. I hope she's around. My boy Kira Yamasaki, man, that's my homeboy. He's in Japan. He's a hip hop dancer now. But Kira was the dopest soccer player. He used to always have the dopest Pokemon cards too. But man, I wish I would have kept mine. Are you collecting any? Are you still holding on to anything now for your kids? So when they're your age now, they have it? Let me know. Because that's something now I need to start doing with my kids. All right, good question. Kid in New York, Bronx. Favorite cop movie? It's a lot of good cop movies. Man, there's Die Hard, there's Rush Hour, there's Bad Boys. I think my favorite cop movie probably has to be Training Day. I think Training Day, man, but that's so hard, man. Bad Boys was so good, and it's so different. Does Blue Streak even count as a cop movie? That was fun too. Marlon Wayans. I mean, not Marlon Wayans. Martin Lawrence. I'll probably have to go Training Day. Even though it's so different. It's like good cop, bad. Well, I guess it's not different. Good cop, bad cop. You know? Yeah, Training Day. I'll say Training Day is my favorite cop movie. All right, good question. Shout out to my New Yorkers. Nick in Sandy, Utah. Did you ever win the Monopoly scratch-off game from McDonald's? I never won what I wanted. So back in the early 90s, I don't even think they did it. Did they do it in the 2000s? I think they did. They might have did it in the 2000s. But back in the day, McDonald's, this was the biggest thing ever. And I think there's a documentary on it because I think there was some scamming going on. But they had this game, and it was Monopoly. And you'd go into McDonald's, and they'd give you a little pamphlet. It looked like a map, you know, for the kids that know what that is. We used to not have GPS. You just have to get a map and fold it up, and then you'll find your destination from a map. Yeah, that's what we used to have to do that. But they used to have these board games. It was a Monopoly board that was folded up, and you would unfold it, and every purchase that you make, whether if it's a cheeseburger, fries, a drink, whatever it is, it came with these little scratch-offs that were attached on the wrapping paper, and you would peel it, and you would scratch it off, and then whatever underneath there, that's where you would put your marker on the game board. And like Boardwalk, obviously Boardwalk was the hot ticket item. I think that was like, you win $1 million or whatever. But there was around the board, you'll get like, you win a car, you win like a home entertainment center, you win a boat, like these kind of things. And if you didn't get nothing on the board, it will usually be like redeem a a free hash brown or buy one, get one. So to answer your question, I never won one of the items on the board, but damn, I used to get a shit ton of hash browns or an egg McMuffin. This was even before the double cheeseburger was a thing. Damn, that's crazy. Yeah, the dollar menu wasn't a thing back in the day, partly because it wasn't as expensive. But going back to where we opened the podcast, remember I said back in my day? This is a back in my day moment when McDonald's had cheap food. But man, I wish McDonald's would bring back the Monopoly game. I feel like with it being rigged the first time, how do you make it not rigged this time? I don't know. Let me know your thoughts. Do you remember playing it? All right, last question here comes from Derek K in Idaho. Shout out to all of my Idaho folks. Have you ever been robbed? I've been stolen from, but I've never been, knock on wood, I've never been held up. I've never been like, yo, give me all your shit. Never been stuck up, but I have been stolen from, which I think in 2024, if you're just living, the cost of living is a robbery. The cost of living is a robbery. They say traditionally or like economically, you should only pay 30% of your wage on where you live. I think that's what the national average would be, is you should only pay 30% of your wage. People are out here spending, 75, 80, 90. Some people are putting all their wage to what they're living, right? Which is just their four corners of their home. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. I don't know how we get out of it. I don't know. Working harder. It's weird, man. The whole system's weird because you would think that you work for what you need, right? You work for what you need. If you make, let's say $60,000, $50,000, $45,000 a year, let's say that $45,000 to $60,000 a year, I feel like that should be a comfortable amount for an American with a family. You should be, because you think about that. If both parents are making around that much, you're just under 100,000. If not just under, you're just over 100,000 a year. I feel like that's comfortable. That should be like a nice home, two nice cars, able to take a vacation, food in the house. That's, schooling for your kid. That's insurance for your family. That's all the necessities, right? Are necessities that you need. But no, like that's like, yeah, you could probably scrape around and make that happen. But man, you're not going to be able to go and have like the luxuries, right? Like the fun trips down to, down south to like the national parks or whatever it is. I feel like now, in order to do all that, a nice vacation a year, be comfortable. And when I say be comfortable, that means you have a nice savings. You have, you have a nice home entertainment system. You have gaming systems. You have, kind of the fun stuff too, right? I feel like in order to get there in 2024, you are looking at you'll probably need about 130, maybe 130-ish a year. If you're making that much money, you'll probably have a high demand job that takes you away from your family, right? And then you ask yourself, is this job worth staying away from my family as much as it's telling me to? So there's a lot of people are like, yo, stop your belly aching. Go get your money. I don't know, man. There's things in life that make you be like, it ain't worth it, It ain't worth it. I'd rather maybe struggle or eat rice and beans. Not to say rice and beans are bad, but, not to have that nice sirloin or whatever. You might have to make some sacrifices. I don't know. I wish that we can get to a place where you can do all the fun stuff and have a good savings on decent work. You don't have to go get 3 jobs to make that decent, to have that decent savings and have that nice family vacation and, like all this stuff. I don't know if we ever get back there. I don't know. And it's so weird because money, It's just paper. It's just the number in your bank account's just a number. It's not even real. Oh, it's annoying. It's so annoying. Here comes Down in Front. If you're a sports athlete looking for a mouthguard to protect your pearly whites, look no further than All Sports Mouthguards.
All Sports Mouthguards, located in West Jordan, Utah. Come visit us, 1385 West, 9000 South in West Jordan, Utah. We offer high quality, made in the USA, custom molded and custom designed mouthguards.
Hey, yo, you're probably listening to the Unrestricted Podcast with Drerawka.
We are?
No, they are.
Yeah. Oh, right.
Oh, wow.
And I'm the real Ruby. You can catch me and Fonzie and the
Defunct.
G Daddy Funk on Lake Talk 801 Podcast.
Yeah, but I think you have to come in more smoother, more funnier. Like, yeah, they could catch us on the Lake Talk 801 podcast.
Yeah, y'all can catch us on the Lake Talk 801.
Yeah, and be like, and yeah, man, hey, and they could catch people like me, the real Ruby, and people like you, Fonzie, and people like him, G Daddy Funk,
wow,
on
that's
the
a
Lake
lot
Talk
of people.
801. Who cares?
What did he say?
Huh?
I didn't hear him.
I don't know, but this probably should be the ad.
Are these on?
Catch a new episode every Monday on all streaming platforms. The Lake Talk 801. Tune in now.
And now the movie review segment you didn't ask for. It's Down in Front.
Down in Front is powered by the good folks over at Fusa Motors in Midvale. I was down there today. Fusa Motors has been in business for over 17 years, going on 18 years. And I was talking to the general manager and I was like, dog, how is this place a family-owned business with just 2 lots still, not just, but with 2 lots still in business in 2024? Think about what we have went through as an economy over the last 18 years. Think about that. And that dealership is still there. And if you look at their Google reviews, I think they're like averaging a 4.6, a 4.8, which is super high. And they're authentic views. If you look at the reviews, it's authentic. It's real views. And you go into the establishment and people are going there. It's good vibes and the cars are nice. And even the clearance lot, that's where I was this morning. I was on the clearance lot. And even the clearance lot has some dope vehicles. So definitely go check out Fusa Motors, 8136 South State Street in Midvale in Utah. You can go check out their full inventory at fusamotors.com. That's FIUZA motors.com. Tell them I sent you and they might hook you up. You know what I mean? Yeah, they're good folks. Now watch The Act. This is, kind of late, right? The Gypsy Rose Blanchard story. A story about a girl. I'm not going to bore you because you've already heard it. A story about a girl that had a mother that diagnosed her daughter with a bunch of stuff that wasn't real. She convinced doctors to diagnose her daughter. She had a feeding tube in her stomach, which and then she had gave her medicine that made her lose her teeth. This girl was manipulated to think that she didn't walk. Long story long. If you don't know the Gypsy Rose Blanchard story, skip ahead 15 seconds. All right. She ends up killing her mom. Well, not her literally, but she got with a dude that she convinced and manipulated to kill her mom. She did, I think, 8 to 10 years in prison. The young man that killed her actual mom, he's doing life without parole. Is it fair? I don't think so. It's kind of crazy. But we watched the show The Act. It's a full docuseries about the story of this young girl, of her mom, and of the man that ends up, taking her mom out. It's really good. Really good. Salute to the actress, both of them. The mom, the actress that played the mom, the actress that played the little girl, Gypsy Rose, and the kid that played the guy that ends up killing the mom. It's really good. If you're looking for a docuseries, something to watch, I highly recommend it. It's on Hulu, along with other documentaries regarding her. If you look at any documentary, any podcast, they're all pretty much solid, but this one, The Act, really good. There's some things that are enhanced, some things that aren't real. Like, she didn't have hamsters. She said she had a cat, I believe. She had a couple cats. But yeah, go check it out. It's a crazy story. It definitely is worth all the hype I know there was a solid 2 weeks where Gypsy Rose was the chick. She was the hot thing. And she's probably going to be the hot thing going into this year. She's probably going to have a baby. She's probably going to get a little, maybe like a TLC or whatever type of network show. Follow Gypsy Rose in these 9 months when she's about to have her baby. Yeah, it's going to be crazy. Natalia Grace. Ooh, man, this story. So following the Gypsy Rose story, I find out about this young girl named Natalia Grace. And what a time to drop this season. Another docuseries where this one is actually, no, this is a reality series where it's episode by episode and they follow this girl, Natalia, her story. And Natalia, she was an immigrant from the Ukraine. It's before the war, 2005, I believe, is when she touched in the United States. And she was born with dwarfism. She has some type of case of dwarfism. She's a little person. I don't know what the actual name of it is, but it's pretty damn rare. What she has, her condition is really rare. And there's a story, the story of this girl. She gets adopted to a family. The family can't put up with her. It's too much, right? She gets adopted by another family. This family has 3 boys. The mom, who is an internet celebrity, like she has books. Her son has Asperger's. What is it? Asperger's? Something like that, where you're really smart, but you're kind of on the spectrum. He's like a genius, you know. She writes a book about him. And then they got this dad that's just no backbone, just kind of like a square, whack-ass fool. And she gets adopted by this family, right? Kind of closing out the picture-perfect family for this mom that needs to be in the light and be this inspiration for people to keep selling this stuff, right? So they end up adopting little Natalia Grace. Now, the family, some things start happening with the family. They accuse Natalia Grace of standing at the edge of the bed with a knife. She has knives under her bed. She's pulling the toddler son's hair. She's peeing in the bed. She's peeing in the car. She's threatening the mom. She's telling the mom she's gonna kill her. They go to a ranch and she tries to push her into an electric fence. This is all what the family's saying, right? Well, then later on in the series, it comes out, and I'm not trying to reveal too much, but Natalia has a story too. She has her side of it, where she's being accused of not being her age. She was born in 2003, and they're saying she was actually born in 1989. So they're trying to age her by hella years. They're saying she's in her 20s. Oh man, like her story is incredible. They moved this girl out of her house. They drop her off in a slum. They get her an apartment at 9 years old, and they leave her. It's crazy. It's a crazy story. There is 2 seasons out right now. You can Google or stream it everywhere. You can just search Natalia Grace. Check it out. I'm sure there's podcasts on it if you're a podcaster and you want to hear it. But if you want to stream it, stream her story, go check it out. I think we watched it on like Peacock or Hulu or something like that. Natalia Grace, go check it out. Let me know your thoughts on it, man. Her story is nuts. If you like the Gypsy Rose Blanchard story, you're gonna freak out on Natalia's story. It's nuts. Real Housewives of Salt Lake City has wrapped up. I think that was season 4. They just wrapped. Whew, what a season. A season where they brought in 2 new castmates in Monica and what was the name? I forget what Heather. No, not Heather. I forget what the other chick's name was. But this season was lit. This was by far probably the best season that Real Housewives of Salt Lake City has had. I watched another Housewives back in maybe 08, 09, something like that. And it was all because my brother Adam, his mom was watching and we were at her house one day and she was all the way into Real Housewives of Atlanta. And I'm like, whoa, like this It's pretty interesting. But I only watched that when I was over there. So I never watched any other Housewives. And then the reason why I got into the Housewives, one, I mean, it's my city, right? So I gotta see what's up. I gotta see what's shaking in the city. Mind you, it's not showing anything of the city. Well, not my demographic of the city, I guess you would say, because some of the things I see are the parties and stuff and the book signings and these things. I'm like, damn, I didn't hear about that. Why did I hear about that? That's my man's DJing. Like, what's going on? So I think some of it was fabricated, obviously. But Lisa Barlow, who was one of the castmates, she came by the studio. She sponsored the podcast for a while with her drinks and her tequila, and I have nothing but good things to say about Lisa. So once I seen that she was on the show, I was like, oh, I'm definitely tuning in. Anyway, season 4, this season that just wrapped up, really good. A lot of drama. A lot of it's fabricated. I shouldn't say fabricated. They definitely put their spice on it, right? A little spicy. Because how do you have so much drama, but yet you're still friends? Like, I don't know. If any of my friends gave me that much drama, ooh, it's over. I gotta go. Remember that unconditional love? Got a condition. You bring drama, I'm out. But they just wrapped up a three-part episode of the reunion, and man, there was a lot of dirt that came out. Check it out. Let me know your thoughts if you watched it. If you're not into that type of television, if you're not into that type of shows, I get it. I wasn't either, but I tried it, and I'm not gonna lie, it got me hooked. I was like, Tuesdays, wifey, get the popcorn. Let's watch it. Something that I do regret watching is a movie called Lift. If you haven't seen it, it's on Netflix. A master thief is woed by his ex-girlfriend and the FBI to pull off the impossible heist with his international crew on a 777 passenger flight from London to Zurich. Yes, your man, Kevin Hart. It's pretty much like a Ocean's 11. Pretty much, I would say, yeah, Ocean's 11-esque type of movie. And you know the funny part? Opening scene. I'm not spoiling too much, but opening scene. They have to pull off a heist on an auction. An auction full of painters, right? And the artist, the painter that's about to get auctioned off, he has a mask on. And he's like, oh, this is an NFT painting. And the whole time I'm looking at this scene, I'm like, I bet you that guy underneath that hood, the guy, mind you, I've never seen no casting. I just seen Kevin Hart, new movie, Lift. So we turned it on Netflix. I haven't seen the trailer, nothing. I tell my girl, I said, that dude underneath that hood, I bet you that's that kid from Spider-Man. Spider-Man's best friend. Yep, you guessed it. It was Spider-Man's best friend. Seen it coming. And that's kind of like the whole movie. You see the whole thing happening before it happens. There's nobody in this film that you know other than Mr. Spider-Man's best friend. It's not good. I'll just tell you that. It is not good. And the sad thing about it is that it's directed by one of the greats, F. Gary Gray, which, you know what I mean? Like, I like F. Gary Gray. It had a budget of $100 million, and I'm sure Kevin Hart got majority of that budget. There was nothing great about this. Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 31%. IMDb gave it a 5.4 out of 10. I would mimic it, and I would probably lower it just a tad. I'd probably give it a 4 out of 10. Yeah, it was not good at all. I would save your time. If you want something on, put on Housewives. Channel 5 news with Andrew Callahan. So, if you're not familiar with this YouTube channel, I highly suggest you get familiar with it. This dude on Channel 5 News, he does documentaries. He does a lot of news reporting. He's a news reporter, right? He's an analyst. And I fell upon his content a few years back when he went to I think it was the Juggalo, like a Juggalo festival or whatever. I don't know why Juggalos fascinate me. I don't know what it is. Going to school, they always fascinated me. because there wasn't a lot of them, but you knew when they were around. And they had their face paint, and they had some good Faygo soda. Faygo soda is delicious. So when I see these guys with these face paint and they listen to music that's all like hip hop, but it's kind of like not good hip hop. So I was like, I don't know, it fascinated me. And then they like wrestling. I like wrestling. I love backyard wrestling. You know what I mean? Especially back in the 90s. I was like, yo, what? Hell yeah. Cool, let's do it. They fascinated me. So when I seen the Juggalo documentary from Channel 5 News, that's when I started following this guy. And most recently, he's done some stories that are just amazing. Really good reporting, really good storytelling, really good news, really good, because he shows both sides. He's like, I didn't believe this person, so I went and did more research, and this is what I found, kind of thing, right? So he crosses his T's and he dots his I's very well. And most recently, he did a documentary on a internet sensation, Crip Mac. If you don't know about Crip Mac, you're probably sleeping underneath the log, or your algorithms aren't ratchet. Unfortunately for me, I love hip hop. I love ratchet. I watch Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. I'm sorry, I'm drawn to it. Been that way my whole life. So he did a documentary on this man named Crip Mac. And Crip Mac is, well, he's a Crip. And he recently got arrested for carrying a ghost gun, which is if you don't know what a ghost gun is, it's a gun that is stripped of any ID. So serial number's gone, right? But when you're in a gang or you're a part of an organization and you really are living that life and you're really about it, you have to protect yourself. Especially with this man. This man, Crip Mac, got his rival, his ops, tatted on his forehead. Killer. Organization name, Killer, on his forehead. So he's definitely known. As soon as he comes into the building, he's known. And this documentary shows a different side of Crip Mac. It shows a side of Crip Mac that, there's a lot of trauma. There's a lot of mental health, behavioral health type of stuff that he needs, not prison, but he needs, help, real help. And so he documented this whole thing. He interviewed his friends. He interviewed people that he did music with, interviewed his family, and it was just done really well. It made you get to know him in a different light and kind of understand where his mind's at, because his mind's not normal. You know what I mean? So I highly suggest you go check that out. He also did another one on Philadelphia and their drug crisis with this new drug. It's less lethal than fentanyl, but it's really killing people because they're not doing it right. So the drug it's for horses. It's a horse drug. It's something that they inject into horses. And if you don't do it right, if you don't inject it into your veins and you miss a vein and it just ends up in your bloodstream in your body, it will eat away at your body. He shows in this documentary, he shows people on the street and their legs are being eaten away. It's horrible. It's awful. It's the only thing that help it is amputation. So you got people on these Philly streets with no legs, no arms, missing part of their face. And it's like a real life zombie land. It's crazy. And not to say I didn't know that, but to the level that it's at, man, Philly needs some help. Portland needs some help. You know what I mean? LA needs some help. The nation needs some help. And Channel 5 showed it. So definitely go check that out. And then the most recent one that I seen was the Arizona border crisis. He goes into the border, like what's going on at the border? How are these people being transported? I didn't realize that a lot of people from like Africa, Sudan and stuff are being transported through South America up into Northern America. It's nuts. It's crazy. So when you usually think about, closing the borders, usually it's like to Southerns, right? Like Mexicans and Guatemalans and Salvadorians and things like that, right? People that live in that region. But no, a lot of them are from Africa. So it's nuts. Go check out Channel 5 News. You won't regret it. Having a good barber is essential, but having that good barbershop experience is even more essential. Get the barbershop experience you deserve with Boogie Down Barbershop, now located at 7378 South Plaza Center Drive in West Jordan, suite number 106. Gentlemen's cuts, tapers, fades, and even a hot towel shave is on the menu. So book your appointment today at boogiedownbarbershop.com and even follow us on social media at the Boogie Down Barber. Well, I was going to jump into sports, but to be honest with you, there's really not no sports news. Rest in peace to the coach that passed away here in Salt Lake City from the Warriors, the Golden State Warriors. That was really sad news. You know, your coach is at dinner and all of a sudden goes into cardiac arrest. You know, going back to tying it to the beginning of the episode, it's like, man, you don't know when your time's written. So please try to be a good human. Try to lead with compassion. Try to lead with empathy. Try to put yourself in other people's shoes. Try to look at another perspective. Don't take things so serious. Be serious, but at the same time, like, think about it. Is it really that big of an issue? Is it that big of a deal? If you make this comment, is it going to hurt somebody's feelings, or are you trying to uplift somebody? You know what I mean? Like, just take a brief second. Just take a second. You know, this is something I've been trying to do. I've tried to be more thoughtful. I just try to be what I want in this world. You know what I mean? I try to be a good dad. Not the greatest dad. I'm not the best dad. There's things that I'm flawed on. There's things that I'm not going to get right. You know, as a friend, as a coworker, as a spouse. You know what I mean? But I'll tell you what, I'm never going to do you dirty. My thing is right now, I don't want to embarrass nobody. That means my friends, my family, and my coworkers. I don't want to embarrass you. So I hope you take this episode. Hopefully you had a good time. Hopefully this was a fun episode for you. Hopefully you maybe got in your little feelings a little bit. Maybe me talking about my sister made you think about somebody in your life that you miss. It's okay to miss them. Let me know how you cope with it. You know what I mean? Because it's not easy. It's not easy being cheesy. Allrock.com, ALLRAWK.com. You can go on there. They have full merch if you want to get a hoodie, t-shirt, sweatshirt, whatever. Definitely go do that. And if you want to follow me on social media, at Drerawka, DRERAWKA on Instagram and TikTok and X. Threads is kind of RIP to Threads. I tried it, man. Ain't nobody go over there. I tried. It looked great. I love it. It's beautiful. But nobody go over there. So X it is. You'll find me giving my little opinions. We got Rumble this weekend. I'm super excited about that. Royal Rumble is going to set up WrestleMania. So can't wait. It's one of the greatest events that the WWE has ever put together. Not only that, but I think it's Royal Rumble 40. I think it's 40 years of Rumble or 30 years of Rumble, something like that. On top of that, April, WrestleMania in Philly. Now, here's the thing. UFC, their big event is in April. UFC 300. It's a big one. And they're brother and sister now. They're brother and brother. TKO. The Rock just got his name. There's a lot of things moving with that enterprise. The WWE just moved over. They just signed rights for Raw to be streamed on Netflix in 2025. USA, rest in peace, man. There's so much going on with the UFC, with WWE, and I think it's all wins for the consumer, for us. I just want to know, with Raw being on Netflix, are we going to have commercials? Is it going to be shorter? Are we going to have blood? Are we going to have better matches? Are we going to have more hardcore matches? Are the ladies or the dudes going to get more risky? Are they going to allow fans to have more riskier posters? Are we going to be back in the 90s? I doubt it. I highly doubt it. People are going to get canceled. I get it. You know what I mean? Cancel culture. But I feel like having less restraints as far as cable television I feel like it's going to be better for the consumer, especially guys like me, guys that remember the Attitude Era, guys that remember the Buried Alive matches, guys that remember the big pyrotechnics and the blood and the Hell in a Cell matches and the risk of it all. And whew, man, there's a lot coming, and I'm excited for it. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. If you made it this far, thank you. If you're on the YouTube gang, don't forget to hit like, comment, share. If you are on the audio platform, drop a review. That 5-star. If you enjoyed it, drop a 5-star. Yo, tell me your thoughts on it. And yeah, I'll catch you guys on the next one. We out. Peace.